to talk about our potential. Now there's part of ourself that is really aware of a future state of a more authentic us, of really a healthier, more vibrantly healthy potential. And that this part of ourself is apparent, that we can feel into it. But sometimes then what we notice is that where we're at now, there's a lot of limiting beliefs. There's a lot of other stuff that comes up that's between us and this future state. And so these limiting beliefs, they might even feel like they're like these stale assumptions that we have about reality. And the ones that I hear the most in myself, but also the most from my clients and my students, like one of them is, I already eat healthy enough. And when we really look at that, there's a sense of a disconnect between what this potential future self is really experiencing, desiring, and how you've eaten in the past, which is healthy enough. But maybe it was healthy enough for the past you, which might look very different than the future you. When I actually look at my own diet and what I choose to eat, I want it to look different every year. And I want that difference to reflect the growth in my awareness, the growth in my awareness of plants around my own ecosystem, about plants around the world, about how nutrients work, about how nutrients work with my human physiology. I want my diet to reflect cutting edge wisdom and ancient wisdom of the plants of this sacred planet. And I want that for you too. I want that for all of us. So when we look at, I already eat healthy enough, it starts to seem stale. It starts to seem outdated and more part of the past self, even the past collective belief in our culture. So let's look at another one of these old beliefs, or one of these stale assumptions. Another one that I experienced personally in the past, but I've also just heard time and time again, is I don't want my diet, the way that I eat, to isolate myself from my family. I don't want to eat so different that I can't enjoy a meal with my family. And now we tap into the future self and what the future self wants to feel like and look like. And then we look at what the current state of the dinner table is, what we're currently choosing to serve, to prepare, to eat, to order. And we might again notice that there's a little bit of a differential, that we can't possibly really be eating the same foods that are our current way of being, our current mode of what we prepare, what we serve, and how we really want to feel. So when we look into that differential and we start to see, wow, I'm gonna have to start to maybe not only shift what I eat, but shift how my whole family eats, shift what I buy, shift what we order. We start to actually tap into the magnitude of what's required to step into our potential. And often that seems really scary, and so the stale belief of, well, I don't want to isolate myself from my family by eating a different way, that seems more comfortable. It seems easier, because it is. But unfortunately, it starts to feel more and more outdated, and if we listen to these old beliefs, what happens is that we start to feel more and more disconnected in our own body, but even more disconnected from our dharma, or our potential offering of this lifetime, our purpose. And when we start to get disconnected from purpose, we start to lose Shakti, we start to lose energy, we start to lose the potential of the life force that we're all capable of being full expressions of. And when we feed our family food also that is somewhat outdated with our core beliefs, outdated with our potential, we're also teaching the other members of our family to live in this limited potentiality. And that's really not what we need going forward here in 2012. So when we unpack that belief of, well, I don't want to isolate myself from my family by choosing different ways of eating, what I instead invite you into is exploring some new assumptions, some new beliefs that aren't so limiting, which is, I might need to re-educate myself. And in this process, I might need to educate my family. As intense as that might be at times, as scary, as overwhelming, just feeling into the next baby step of, but there's change, and there's authenticity, and there's growth, and that's what I want to align with. So let's look at one more. Another one that often I hear is, well, I don't want to become more austere. I don't want to stop enjoying food. And this is one that's, for anyone that's really experimented with their body as a, almost body as a science lab. How can I optimize my physiology? How can I optimize my potential? How can I optimize my Shakti, my deep energy? And started to look at the nutrients that we want to put in, the practices and how we want to live, the different ways of being that we want to experiment with. What we start to notice is that the joy, when we really tune into optimization, the joy expands. That the joy has this evolutionary potential. And so the idea of just doing the austerities and doing practices or not enjoying foods, it starts to seem stale. It starts to seem limited, outdated, part of a past belief system. That might be part of your personal belief system, might be part of your family belief system, might be part of your community or cultural belief system. And the more we tap into what beliefs that we're holding are stale and outdated, and what beliefs are part of our future potential, what we're aligning with our future self, this vision of our future self, how we want to feel, how we want our physiology to experience and express, we start to notice that there's a gap. And the gap is what I invite us to step into. The idea that food is less enjoyable, right? That real nutrients that are good for the physiology is less enjoyable. That's actually ridiculous. Because what happens, and this is actually proven for those who need proof. What happens is that the cravings that we have in our physiology influence what our tongue experiences. The truth is, the amount of toxicity in your body influences what your tongue craves. And these cravings largely occur in the mind. And what in yoga and what in ayurveda we call the mano-maya kosha, in the field of the mind. And they're not actually connected to the physiological reality of what helps our body experience bliss, which actually translates into how we can experience bliss through our taste buds. So if your tongue is operating on an old operating system, eating foods that don't have as much vibrancy and much potential, there is a chance that you're going to have to clear out, you're actually going to have to cleanse out some of the toxicity in your body so that your tongue can truly taste and truly enjoy the ecstatic bliss of real nutrients. And to step into that gap and to emerge on the other side in this vibrant health experience of your future self, where you actually crave from a body place, that your body craves the nutrients that it needs. And the mind is totally in line with it, and the tongue is totally in line. And all of a sudden you notice that you're living in the next degree of your evolutionary harmony. So that's what I wanted to share with us, is just this experience of illuminating our old beliefs, our stale assumptions, and illuminating the potential self and the gap between. And I just invite us all to step into what those old beliefs are, what the future self, what those beliefs are, the differential, and to start to actively take steps towards your future self.